We all have universal traits as a result of natural selection. For example, we are all children of people who felt intense sexual desire. Therefore, we all have it ingrained in us to pass down our genes to offspring, ensuring our survival as a human race. By the same token, we are all children of people who were too scared to be ostracized, because abandoning the herd or tribe in old times got you killed. Therefore, groupthink was the norm. So, as a result, after some time, our primitive societies came up with the idea of traditions. Traditions were a way for society to meet, come together, and collectively form a sense of community or belonging. Now, the problem is, eventually, there was no real frame of reference for which traditions were productive or conducive to societal progression and which ones weren't. So the lack of external input, coupled by trauma that some societies might have faced due to harsh conditions, allowed for rampant ignorance to be practiced. Trauma is an interesting thing, because they say that hard times create strong men, but the more I go through life, the more I doubt it. Maybe if you use the trauma productively, for example, by using the anger it had caused you to put it to an end, then it can create strong men who stop the trauma from happening later on in the future. But when you live in a society where the only goal is survival, people start to lose interest in how to get out of the cycle of trauma. So as a result, they allow the trauma to control them. I'll give you a very simple example. When your mind and body are in survival mode, you forget to regulate your eating habits. Your body simply turns that capability off. So if you see fast calories, such as a sweet or a snack, etc., you gobble it up without thinking twice. So when you suddenly get exposed to a world where calories, cheap dopamine, and the like are limitless, which is the case in modern society, you go crazy. I'll provide one more example just so the point is driven home. Parents who beat their children. It didn't happen overnight that they laid hands on children without feeling any shred of guilt. It's that a dad went to work, was oppressed by his higher-ups during the feudalist times, got back home, didn't really know what to do with this oppression, so he took out his negative feelings on his wife instead of directing them to the real transgressor. Wife did it to the kids did it to other kids, cycle repeats. These are two examples of allowing trauma to control you instead of you controlling it. How does this relate to the main topic of tradition? Well, when we get together as a society who is traumatized and we only care about relieving ourselves immediately at any expense, we start to practice stupid traditions. We get drunk, smoke until our lungs turn black, eat the most disgusting yet calorie-dense food, fight other tribes, not because of right or wrong, but rather because we need to exert our pride and dominance over this artificial dominion we delude ourselves into believing in. Because in the feeble, weak-willed mind of man, we want the easiest source of having a sense of achievement. When all you have is trauma because of harsh conditions and mistreatment, you smoke your cigarettes, get drunk as fuck, and fight the other tribe because you delude yourself that you are better. Because that's literally the only thing you can live for. The spike of dopamine from hitting a cigarette, the buzz of getting drunk, the high of being from a more superior tribe, absolutely pathetic. What's very interesting is that, despite all of this collective retardation was what allowed societies to gain power and momentum. It's what allowed civilizations to grow in number, grow in influence, grow in power. For example, when some societies vehemently reject the prospect of marrying someone from outside the society, it's a form of preservation. They need to preserve the mobilizing force of belonging to this group of retards. As a result, inbreeding is rampant in these societies. Perhaps in the history of these societies, something happened which threatened the existence of the society that they've completely outlawed the prospect of mixing blood. It all comes down to one thing: not wanting to die out. These societies want their tribe to live as long as possible. But the more united a society is, the more NPC-ish they are. Very easy to control and very easy to mobilize. I'm not a patriotic person at all. If anything, I absolutely hate the nation the universe has assigned me to and would be quite happy to watch disappear. Whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing is completely down to the individual. My perspective on the matter is that the more you attach your identity to one thing, such as a tribe or a religion or etc., the more you lose yourself in the process. You lose your ability to stand up for what's really right and what's really wrong. You lose your ability to grow and develop. You simply become a member of this tribe, nothing more and nothing less. You share blood with these people? Who gives a fuck? What if they treated me horribly? How would our shared blood be of any benefit? I can't explain, but you need to let things die so new things could grow. But one thing which comes to my mind is it possible to artificially manufacture a culture where all degeneracy and decadence is removed? How would that look like? I really think we need something like that, especially young people. The death of tradition means there are very few places where young men and women can meet. Ideally, it should be a place where nobody is forced to be and also improves your life in a tangible way. Improves your fitness, intellect, knowledge, skills, etc. Either way, it doesn't matter. I doubt it would last for long. Somewhere down the line, we people would do what we do best. Fuck it all up. But the prospect of artificially creating a culture which isn't connected to vague man-made ideas such as tribe, blood, and so on is really interesting to me. I'd like to know what you guys think of it. Feel free to leave a comment about that. Hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.